Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the vlog. So, Seat Ibiza time again. Today we are going to accomplish all the electronics that are outstanding, the issues that we saw in the last episode. So we're going to get the seat in, the passenger seat. We're going to replace the two seat belts, and I'm also going to show you how to unlock a locked seatbelt. Now, when I say unlocked seatbelt, I'm not talking about one that's been in an accident, because you certainly don't want to unlock one of those, but I'm talking about one that is good for use but appears locked. I had two seatbelts delivered to me that were from a car that was previously fine, but it had some issues, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. Anyway, let's crack on and get the old seatbelts off so we can get the new ones prepared and the seat, and then run our final diagnostics on the car, which will hopefully clear all of our codes. Right, let's crack on. Okay, so today's task is very simple. We're going to take off this trim here so that we can get access to the seatbelt behind. And once we get that seatbelt off and replaced, we're then going to clean up the egg stains that we've got along here and give the car a little bit of a clean up before we put the seat back in. Then once we get the seat back in, we'll run the diagnostic codes. So that's a job in hand. Let's crack on. As we said, we're going to first of all take this panel off and then release the bolts on those seatbelts. And of course, like the last time, we need to disconnect the earth because we are dealing with airbags, and we're going to cap the earth with a battery cap, to make sure that if this comes across, it can't liven up that circuit. Okay, so on the deck here you can see these are the old seat belts that need to be replaced. Now, a good indication as to how you know that the seat belts have deployed is shake them. Hear that? So basically that's a canister that deploys and that tightens up the seat belt. So basically when the airbag deploys, it basically pulls that tight in and will lock it as well. So this one has deployed, well, both of them have deployed really, but that's a good indication. So if you ever order any seat belts and they make that sound, then you know that it's no good. Now, what a good one should sound like is this. Nothing. So that's a good seatbelt. So we need to replace these with this and the other one I've got. But before we do that, I'm going to show you a problem that I discovered and how to fix it. And that is a locked seatbelt. Let's give you a lesson, a one-on-one lesson in seatbelt technology. So this seatbelt here, this is one of the new ones. This one is actually okay. This is one that I repaired. Okay. Now this other one though is locked. Now this seatbelt I've tested. What I've done is I've plugged this seatbelt into the car, used VCDS to read the tensioner, and it's telling me that the tensioner is absolutely fine. So why is this seatbelt locked? Well, the reason being is that when they are separated from the car at the salvage yard or breaker's yard, the seatbelt is allowed to wind in. When it winds in, it basically fills up the reel and can't go any further. So when you try to release it, basically there's not enough seatbelt to wind in for it to release from the catch. Now, on seatbelts, particular VW seatbelts, you notice that you've got these two black caps, one on this side and one on this side. So this side is where the pre-tensioner pyrotechnic explosion happens, okay? This is a seal side. You cannot go into that. There is a warning telling you not to go in that. I would strongly advise you against going into that as well, because you are dealing with an explosive charge. And that's the reason why it's sealed. However, on the other side, it is literally just a pin down the bottom here. So there's a little pin down here and two clips which will allow you to release the cap. So let's just do that now. I'm going to release the cap here. I'm using a little pointy screwdriver, and what you can do then is just lift that there, do the same on the other side here, lift that one first and then do this one after. And what that will allow you to do is just gently lift this up. And then if you push the little pin at the bottom here, and that's why you need a pointy screwdriver, it will then allow you to push. Hopefully you can see that little pin, it'll allow you to push that out. Okay, so we'll just do that again, lift this up. Now once you do that, you can then remove the cap, and then here you have a little ball bearing, and on the ball bearing you've got a little clip. And it's that little clip there which is on a spring low, so the ball bearing is sitting on a spring, and that prevents the reel from unwinding. So if you hold that back, it's difficult to do that with one hand, hold that back and then pull the reel, it will then allow you to pull the reel out, and that releases the seat belt. And then by doing that, just pulling it out a certain way, it will then allow the mechanism to work as normal. Okay, so when it winds in, it should then allow me to pull out. Let's try that again. Here we go. So that's now working as it should, and I can put that into the car and then the car will work as normal. Now sometimes what I found is I actually had to take mine off. It comes off very easily. Essentially it's just a clip that holds it into place like that, and that's all it is. And sometimes these mechanisms, they do get damaged, but once that's off, the seatbelt will work normally and it will lock as well. You see it? But what you must not do, you must put this back. Do not leave it off. Okay, if you leave it off, then you are compromising your seatbelt. So I'm going to just take a look at this ball bearing just to make sure there's no debris underneath it. But that's how you repair a seatbelt that has locked, that has not had the explosive charge go off. Repeat, the explosive charge must not have gone off. If it has gone off, like the one I showed you earlier, if you rattle it, you'll hear it all shake, and that tells you that it's gone off. And that means that if you've got one and it's making a noise when you're shaking it, it's defective, send it back. Okay, so I hope that helps you in order to be able to get your seatbelt sorted if they come or arrive locked up. Okay, so we've got these seat belts in on both sides, so that's in properly now and locks into place, which is perfect, and goes up and down nice and freely. So we've done both sides as well, so both sides are done. So now we just got to do the glove box underneath there, plug it in, and then once we get the glove box plugged in, we just got to put this seat back in. Okay, so we've got the passenger seat back in place, and we also have the driver's glove box back in place and plugged in. So the only thing left for us to do is to reconnect the battery so that we can do our final tests, clear all the airbag codes, and make sure that this car is ready to be sold. Okay, so let's remove the cap protecting the earth terminal, and we can put the terminal back in place, and that's loosely now connected. Okay, so we've got power back into the car and the ignition. Now what we need to do is we need to log on to VCDS and then check those codes. Okay, so let's check the status of these airbags and see if we've cleared all of the airbag codes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is let's go into the control modules, and then we're going to go into our airbag. Let the system scan the airbags, and then let's check the fault codes. So we should have 5 fault codes from previous, so let's just examine those. So we've got our front passenger side airbag ignited. That was because the seat was removed. We've got our igniter for seatbelt passenger side, or seatbelt tensioner passenger side. Redundant signal path airbag shut off passenger side, so that is the glove box which has now been plugged back in. Key switch for this is the seat, this is the glove box, so this one here, the deactivation of passenger side airbag, and this unknown. So let's clear the codes, say yep, no false codes found. Let's go back in now and see if we found any codes, and we have no codes to be reported. So let's do the next test, the final test, which is to start the car up and see if the airbag light goes out. Okay, so let's do the test. So first thing is, let's put the key in ignition, light up the dashboard, airbag should go out, which it does. Let's start the car, airbag should stay off, and it does. The only lights on the dashboard is the one telling me that the door's open, that my seatbelt is not plugged in, and that my handbrake is up. There you go. So that all works. In fact, let me plug my seatbelt in just to make sure that error goes out. I know it will, but might as well test it while you're all here watching. And there we go. Seatbelt plugged in, airbag goes off. Excellent. So that is everything in this car done. Well, almost. We still got a few snagging bits and pieces, so I've still got to put these trims in on either side, and the car needs a good old clean, and then there's some slight body work, nothing really major, but I'm just trying to get top dollar for this car. So there is some issues with some of the clear coat, which I'm going to fix in a future episode. But in terms of the electronics on the car, this car is now all fixed. And so just before I close down VCDS, I decided to run one more scan, and as you can see by all the black text, we have no codes. So the car is now completely clear of any diagnostic trouble codes, and is now fit and ready to go back on the road. So that's it for the Seat Ibiza. This project is now well and truly done. I just have to give the car a wash and valet, and I might show that at a later date. Don't know, I'll think about that. Can't do so at the moment because the next project is outside over there. That's blocking the way. And over the last few weeks, I've given you all some clues as to what that is, some little sneaker peeks during the video, like we used to in the old days. I started doing that again There's also a clue in this this episode if you haven't already seen it. It's a massive clue. Let me know what it is in the comments below, and you can boast in your glory as being one of the first to actually mention it. Actually, a couple of you have mentioned it already, so there you go. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this series of repairs on this Seat. We now need to just wait for the V5 to come along, and then we can then put it up for sale. I will do you a breakdown of how much it costs to get this car back on the road, and I'll do that shortly in the next couple of episodes. So as we always say, don't forget to subscribe down here and click on that bell notification so you're notified whenever we release a new video, and give us a like as well. Click on that like button because it helps our channel on the analytics. Right, so next week we'll be revealing our new car on the channel, and hopefully that one we're going to turn it around very quickly, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't revealed it so far. So have a good rest of the week, and we will see you on the next one.